Welcome to Bible Study for Beginners. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our insights. Today, we're exploring the concept of grace and how it can transform our daily lives. Grace, as defined in Ephesians 2:8-9, tells us that we are saved by grace through faith, not by our own works. This is a crucial point because it highlights that grace is a gift. It's freely given, not something we can earn. This understanding provides immense comfort, especially in moments of failure or doubt. But how does grace manifest in our everyday lives? It offers us a perspective shift. When we understand grace, we can navigate our failures, recognizing that God's love remains unwavering. Romans 5:20 reminds us, "Where sin increased, grace increased all the more." This means that even in our darkest moments, grace is present and working to pull us back into the light. Additionally, grace isn't just for personal comfort. We're called to extend grace to others, reflecting God's love in our interactions. Colossians 3:13 guides us, encouraging us to bear with each other and forgive one another. This principle helps restore relationships and build a community rooted in empathy and understanding. Practically applying grace involves intentional looking beyond others' mistakes and choosing forgiveness. It can be challenging, especially when hurt runs deep. But remember, grace doesn't dismiss personal pain. It teaches us to respond with compassion instead of resentment. As we go through today's episode, keep in mind that grace fuels hope. It reassures us that no matter how many times we stumble, we can always return to God. So let's lean into this powerful truth. In our journey to understand grace in daily life, let's explore practical applications of this boundless gift. Grace, defined as unmerited favor, is not just a theological concept. It's something we can actively engage with every day. Ephesians 2:8-9 reminds us that, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast." This highlights the core of grace. It is a gift. Consider how we handle conflicts or disappointments. Instead of responding with anger or bitterness, we can choose to extend grace to others just as God extends it to us. This may mean forgiving someone who hurts us, reflecting Colossians 3:13. "Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone." Applying grace practically, therefore, calls us to respond with understanding rather than retaliation. Additionally, grace also informs how we view ourselves. We often struggle with feelings of unworthiness or guilt over past mistakes. Romans 8:1 encourages us, stating, "Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus." Internalizing this verse can motivate us to apply grace to our self-image, allowing us to move forward without the burden of guilt. Reflect on times you allow self-criticism to overshadow your achievements. Instead, remind yourself that you are worthy of grace and capable of growth. Lastly, grace isn't passive. It requires action. James 4:6 tells us, "God opposes the proud but shows favor to the humble." When we adopt a humble heart, we open ourselves to grace. This humility not only deepens our spirituality, but also transforms our relationships with others, fostering a nurturing environment charged with empathy and love. So let's actively incorporate grace into our daily practices this week. Start by forgiving someone, including yourself, and embracing the truth that grace is a continual flow, one that we can extend within our communities and to ourselves. That simple decision could change someone's day or even life. As we wrap up our exploration of understanding grace in daily life, let's reflect on how grace is not just a theological concept, but also a practical gift we can embrace every day. Ephesians 2:8-9 reminds us, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast." This passage signals to us that grace is inherently linked to our belief and trust in God, inviting us to live a life filled with gratitude rather than self-reliance. Understanding grace means actively applying it in our relationships and everyday interactions. When someone wrongs us, instead of holding on to bitterness, we can offer forgiveness. Colossians 3, "Tres encourages, bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone." This is grace in action. It releases both the offender and yourself from burdens of resentment, allowing healing to flourish. Finally, consider how we can extend grace to ourselves. Many struggle with self-criticism and guilt. conflicting with the Apostle Paul's assurance in Romans 8:1. There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. When faced with failure, remember that God's grace is sufficient, granting us the freedom to learn and grow rather than becoming paralyzed by mistakes.